Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant. I'm Graham GSM Matthews, and kind of going along with what we've been doing here in WrestleRant for the last couple of weeks, today we are breaking down the March 30th, 2015 edition of Raw, only one night removed from WrestleMania 31. Now, please note, I'm not breaking down the post-WrestleMania Raw from this past year, from this past Monday, just because it's only been 5 or 6 days. So usually I wait a year, and that's the whole purpose of these video series, of these WrestleRant videos, to look back at these pay-per-views at least 1 year later. So we will not be breaking down the post-WrestleMania Raw for this year, but we already have broken down the 2012, 2013, and 2014 shows. Today we're talking about March 30th, 2015 edition of Raw. So the show kicks off with none other than the Beast incarnate, Brock Lesnar, who was fuming coming off the loss of his WWE World Heavyweight Championship at a WrestleMania when Seth Rollins cashed in. He comes out with Paul Heyman wearing his gear, not the trunks, not jeans, or whatever Brock Lesnar usually wears. He comes out ready for a fight, challenging Seth Rollins to his championship rematch that night on Raw. Stephanie says, "You'll get your rematch tonight, but Seth Rollins is not yet here. He's still in the air. He will be here later on tonight." So a very hot, start to the show. And in past years, including this year too, this past year we had Vince McMahon kicking off the show, which was a bit weird. But in other Raws that I talked about, in 2012 we had The Rock coming out. 2013 it was new WWE Champion John Cena. In 2014 it was new WWE Champion Daniel Bryan. And this year it was the former WWE Champion Brock Lesnar kicking off the show and setting up a segment for later on in the show. So great stuff all around, and it really felt like it had a big fight feel around it because, as Paul Heyman said in the promo, this would mark, and the match didn't ultimately come to fruition, but this would mark the first Brock Lesnar match on Raw in almost 12 years. So it was a big occasion, and it really meant a lot for that to be, set up that earlier on in the evening and give viewers something to look forward to later on in the night. So after that, for the Intercontinental Championship, Daniel Bryan defending against Dolph Ziggler. These were the final two participants in the ladder match at WrestleMania when Daniel Bryan knocked over Dolph to win the championship. In the ladder match, they had a rematch on this show. This was the match a lot of people thought we would get at WrestleMania itself. When Daniel Bryan fell short of victory at Fastlane, he didn't have a match for WrestleMania up until literally like 2 or 3 weeks before the show. People were just saying, why not just put him in a match against Dolph Ziggler? It would make zero sense, but the match itself would be great. So thankfully, that was not the case. We got the ladder match instead. But they had a great match in this show, as only one would expect from these two. Daniel Bryan wins to retain the title in clean fashion. Wade Barrett, who was on our Bad News Barrett, I guess, at that point, who was on commentary, comes out afterwards, attacks Daniel Bryan, attacks Dolph Ziggler, is ready to lay out Daniel Bryan too, before out comes Sheamus, making his quote-unquote long-awaited return. I know a lot of people weren't waiting with bated breath to see Sheamus come back, but it was a long time coming. For Sheamus to, a long time in the making for Sheamus to make his return to Monday Night Raw. So he comes out, clears Wade Barrett from the ring before setting his sights on Daniel Bryan, laying him out with a bro kick before targeting Dolph Ziggler with 3 bro kicks. So Sheamus officially going heel, which was great. They would do nothing with it. He means less than he ever has before currently. But at the time, I was really, really excited for it. Sheamus as a heel was a big change in character for him. It was a long time coming as well because he had been a babyface for the past 3 years before this. So, or 4 years, I guess, by 2011. So, really, really good stuff there. Great match, followed by a great angle that would have set up, or did set up, Sheamus versus Ziggler for the following pay-per-view. But unfortunately, this was one of Daniel Bryan's final matches in WWE on Raw before he had to retire before he was concussed a few weeks later. I think it was the next day, actually. I think he faced Sheamus at the SmackDown taping that week, and that was where he got concussed. And he continued to work, like, SmackDown the next week, and I think that was it, unfortunately, like a week or two later. But anyway, one of Daniel Bryan's final Raw matches, and at least it was a good one. After that, we had an 8-man tag team match with Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, the WWE Tag Team Champions, teaming up with the Ascension against the New Day and the debuting Lucha Dragons on the main roster. The crowd loved the Lucha Dragons. Kalisto had the performance of the night in this matchup, just going all crazy with his flips and dives and reversals and whatever else. The crowd was in absolute awe at Kalisto's offense in this matchup. So, great showing for the Lucha Dragons. Kidd and Cesaro bumped around very well for them. I thought that was the match that we were getting Extreme Rules. Not the case. It ended up being New Day versus Cesaro and Kidd, and people were like, oh, why is it the New Day? They suck. They're awful as baby faces, and that was where they kind of turned the corner and went heel. And that's where that really all started, which was funny to me, and I mentioned this on Twitter this past week, that, this year, of course, this past Monday, the New Day were one of the most overacts the entire show, obviously. I mean, they have been for a long time now, but it's funny because you go back to the post-WrestleMania Raw last year, in this 8-man tag team match, and they were getting booed out of the fucking building. This was a show, in fact, that New Day sucks. That chant made its debut, where the crowd turned it around from New Day rocks to New Day sucks. It caught on, officials caught on, and slowly but surely turned them heel. So you can really credit the post-WrestleMania crowd from last year for giving us the New Day that we have now. After that, Seth Rollins comes out, the new WWE World Heavyweight Champion, to defend against Brock Lesnar. The match never comes to fruition. Seth Rollins cites jet lag as the reason that he can't compete. So he's about to leave the arena before Brock Lesnar just goes total apeshit, bumps around, or Rollins bumps around for Brock Lesnar, avoids a suplex and jumps over the barricade. Lesnar has him in his grasp. Before J&J security get involved, they break it up. Rollins scurries to the back or scurries, through the crowd and out of the arena. In the meantime, Brock Lesnar absolutely destroys J&J security before setting his sights on the commentators. He turns over the commentating table, which was oddly enough in the same position all night. They didn't have the wherewithal to put it back in place, which was weird. But anyway, so Michael Cole dodges this attack and he gets out of the table. He moves away from the table. And before he can run away, Brock Lesnar catches him, throws him in the ring, and then lays him out with the F5. Just amazing. The crowd goes crazy. And Brock Lesnar is about to attack the cameraman, too. He's got him up on his shoulder. Stephanie comes down and says, "No, hold it, no. Brock Lesnar, you will get your rematch. But for now, you are indefinitely suspended. So get out. And then Brock Lesnar says, "To hell with it," lays out the cameraman anyway. And I think he F5'd him a second time, too. Just one of those top 100 Raw highlight reel moments from Monday Night Raw. I talked about this a couple of years ago, or a couple of episodes ago, where the DVD came out. The DVD came out a couple of years ago for the 1000th episode of Monday Night Raw, where they counted down the top 100 moments in Monday Night Raw history. Now, whether you agree with it or not, most of the list was, rank-wise, was not great, but a lot of the moments deserve to be on there. This moment would be on there. I mean, Brock Lesnar is responsible for a lot of top Raw moments in the last few years, and this was one of them. This was just total anarchy in its, finest fashion. And unfortunately, I love the idea of no commentary for the rest of the show, but they would strut Byron Saxton out there to do commentary, and he was so fucking awful. He has gotten better. To his credit, he has gotten better. He just sounded, and still sounds a little vanilla. I mean, he has gotten a lot better in the past year. But at that time, he was no Joey Styles. There was no calling the show on his own. It was a sinking ship out there at commentary. He sucked. So right before the main event, I think it was actually during the main event or during one of the final few matches, I don't know what it was, maybe during the Divas match or something, they strutted Jerry Lawler out there to go help save the show, and that wasn't much better, but it was better than having Byron by himself. So anyway, great angle with Rollins and Lesnar. They would have their rematch later on in the year at Battleground. Damien Mizdow comes out, beats Stardust in a quick match. He's still pretty much over, despite parting ways with The Miz at WrestleMania. He's still using the Mizdow gimmick, and he would kick off the feud with The Miz on this show. Miz came out afterwards, attacked Mizdow, and that led to their very disappointing feud over the next couple of weeks, which led to them having just 3 matches on Raw, not saving it for the pay-per-view, and that was about it, which was strange. But anyway, that was a decent match. After that, we had Curtis Axel Mania coming out to, I can't tell you if he came out to a pop or not. Probably did, obviously. It's the post-WrestleMania crowd. But they didn't show his entrance. So they came back from commercial. He was already in the ring and said, "The road to Extreme Rules starts now." Great line. And his opponent was none other than the debuting Neville, who they showed a vignette for earlier on in the evening. Out comes Neville, beats him in quick fashion with the red arrow, which the crowd was in just absolute awe of, like I said with Kalisto earlier. So a good first match for Neville. Unfortunately, they wouldn't do much with him. They haven't done much with him. I know he's currently injured, but before that, what was he doing? Feuding with Stardust, Neville, or Kevin Owens for a few weeks. He really hasn't done much in the past year since he got called up, unfortunately. He had a very short-lived feud with Bo Dallas. He had a great match against John Cena, a great fucking match for the title against Seth Rollins on Raw back in August. But that's about it. And a lot of good matches with Kevin Owens, too, but he really hasn't had that one real, he's had a lot of great matches. He has had that one match, but none of them have been able to cement him as like a star in the minds of the casual fans. To me, he just comes off like another Evan Bourne, which sucks because I feel like he's better than, I love Evan Bourne. I love Matt Sydal, but I feel like Neville has, 10 times more potential than Evan Bourne ever did in WWE, and they're just completely wasting him. But as a moment for this match, it was really cool to see Neville debut. After that, John Cena comes out, the new United States champion, hosting an open challenge. I had my fingers crossed for Samoa Joe or fucking, Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens, and 2 out of the 3 of those men would answer the open challenge in time over the next couple of months. But yeah, Cena comes out, cuts a promo how he beat Rusev at WrestleMania. He was going to give everyone an equal opportunity. So basically the debut of the U.S. Open that we would get treated to for most of 2015, and one of the highlights of 2015 for Monday Night Raw. And I don't care if you like John Cena, hate John Cena, if you feel indifferent towards him. The U.S. Open was undoubtedly one of the highlights of Monday Night Raw last year. Just phenomenal stuff from start to finish, from him as United States champion through the various matches that he had on Monday Night Raw that year. But anyway, so Cena comes out, issues the open challenge, and his opponent is, drum roll please, Dean Ambrose. Despite getting nearly killed at WrestleMania, getting put through a ladder by Luke Harper, is still able to come out and have a competitive match with John Cena, which is funny to me now. I mean, he's able to come out there after getting, like I said, almost killed at WrestleMania, getting put through a ladder, taken out of the match from that point forward. He comes out the next night and wrestles a very competitive match with John Cena and almost comes close to winning the U.S. Championship. Yet 1 year later, after a 12-minute match with Brock Lesnar, doesn't show up on Raw. And he really wasn't that badly hurt. He got an F5 on the chairs, but what's worse, getting put through a ladder or getting an F5 on the chairs? You tell me. But anyway, I thought that was funny. But yeah, like I said, really, really good match. And you know how Cena had to get his win back over Dean Ambrose after he beat him in the fall? Cena had to get his win back. He just had to. He was eating him alive. But yeah, anyway, all joking aside, really, really good match. And the commentators were saying, I don't think this is the last we've seen of Cena versus Ambrose. And I'm hoping once Ambrose goes heel down the line, I don't think he should right now, but at least at some point eventually, an Ambrose-Cena feud would be very, very good. I think that could be a great feud on the mic, in the ring, and if this match was any indication, the matches would be stellar. A great match. Cena wins. I think he pinned Dean Ambrose with the AA, showed him respect after the matchup. After that, we had a 6-diva tag team match with AJ Lee in her final WWE appearance, as it would turn out to be a couple days later after she retired that Friday on Good Friday. Teamed with Paige and Naomi against Natalya and the Bella Twins. I didn't really mind this match at all. They got a bunch of time, but the crowd shat all over it. And it really wasn't as apparent watching it back. I don't know, it was more apparent when I watched it the first time. Watching it back, it's usually the other way around, which is weird. But watching it back, I didn't hear a lot of derogatory chants for the Divas. I heard a lot of "We Want AJ" and CM Punk chants, but that was about it. I know there were a lot of chants for "You Suck Uso," "You Suck Cena," like for the Divas and who they're actually dating in real life, which was so beneath wrestling fans. That was disgusting to hear, just like in terms of just so repulsive. But anyway, the match itself was not bad. Just the crowd shat all over it when they really didn't need to. But the match wasn't bad, but like I said, really notable for AJ making her final WWE appearance. I think picking up the win for her team. Or no, Naomi did. She pinned Nikki, and that would set up what we all thought would be a Divas Championship match at Extreme Rules. It would be Naomi versus, I think, who was it? Nikki instead? Or no, it was Naomi. But she injured Paige after Paige became the number one contender, whatever. But you know what I mean. So, decent match. And AJ, by the way, too, I forgot to mention this, was wearing a Bayley shirt. I'm a Hugger shirt. So that was great to see. So, Rusev up next faces Goldust in a completely meaningless match. I would have just cut this from the show altogether just because it made no sense, and the commentators questioned this too, that it made zero sense for Cena to have an open challenge and Rusev not accept it, you know? He would eventually get his rematch of the championship at Extreme Rules, but if he's in the building, why wouldn't he go out there and demand his title rematch? That made zero sense. So just keep him off the show and say he wasn't there, or he's distressed, or whatever. He's still recovering from the loss. He didn't come out with Lana. Beat Goldust in quick fashion. I think Goldust got injured here, and he was out until like fucking November or something. Not like anyone really cares, but the match was a total squash. Main event time. So 6-man tag team action. Seth Rollins, Big Show, and Kane. I guess that jet lag kind of wore off pretty quickly for Seth Rollins, it seems. Taking on Randy Orton, who demanded a championship match after beating Rollins before he won the championship at WrestleMania. Teaming with Roman Reigns and Ryback. Yes, Roman Reigns was the mystery third partner. They were teasing that Orton would have 2 mystery partners. It would have been sick, as many people speculated at that time, if it was Undertaker and Kane. Wasn't to be. Sting actually showed up after Raw ended on the WWE Network to cut a promo about his future. Gave basically nothing away. There was really no indication on his future at all. It was just a plug for the network. That was kind of disappointing. But the main event of the show was very, very standard. It felt like a typical Raw main event. You know, it was just kind of there, and people shat all over Roman Reigns, yet that didn't stop them from having him pin on like Kane or Big Show. I'm pretty sure it was Kane anyway. And just go off the show like that. I'm just waiting for something to happen. It didn't. It was a great show up until that final half hour or so. It wasn't even that the match was bad and people were like, oh, this crowd sucks. They're so disrespectful. Why would they shit on the match? because the match wasn't what it should have been. It's the post-WrestleMania Raw. You got to go all out. And I know people were complaining about this past week's show, but at least that main event was worthy of taking place in the post-WrestleMania Raw. For the best workers in the company today in Jericho, Cesaro, AJ Styles, and Kevin Owens having one of the best Raw matches of the year. And then you look back 1 year earlier at this match, and this was a total disappointment compared to that classic, you know. We were so used to post-WrestleMania Raws closing out with a big angle, like Cena and Rock making their match for WrestleMania 1 year in advance, or Brock Lesnar returning, or Ryback going heel, or the Shield turning face, unofficially, officially, whatever. But then we get treated to this kind of shit. Again, it wasn't awful, just very disappointing. But other than that last half hour, I thought this was a great show. Nothing out of the ordinary for a post-WrestleMania Raw, just a very standard, stellar show with a lot of cool moments. Like I said, we had a new champion? No new champions, I'm sorry, I thought we did. But we had a couple championship matches. Intercontinental Championship match was great. Cena Ambrose was great. We had Brock Lesnar destroying the commentator team, which was an awesome moment. The debut of the Lucha Dragons and Neville. And that was about it. So, pretty good show. AJ Lee's final match as well. So, pretty solid show, start to finish. I give it 2 thumbs up other than that 1.5 hour. So if you watch it on the network where it is available, you can watch just the first 2.5 hours, then quit out or watch the whole thing if you want. But I would recommend watching the whole show. It was a very entertaining episode. So that is my review of the March 30th, 2015 edition of Monday Night Raw, and that wraps up our post-WrestleMania Raw reviews here on WrestleRant. I forgot to put it up, stupid me, but my next review this is going up on Saturday, so on Wednesday we're back to our regular schedule, I would assume. My review of No Way Out 2012 will be going up. Now, I forgot to include it when I posted all the other No Way Out reviews about a month or so ago, a while ago. I forgot about it for whatever reason. I only put up 2009 before going on to Elimination Chamber. I recorded it, too. That's the funny thing. I recorded it, so you might be hearing me talk about like Elimination Chamber reviews coming up. That's already happened. I recorded this like 2 months ago, but I don't know, I forgot to post it. So that's going up on Tuesday to get that out of the way. And then beyond that, I think the following week on Saturday, next Saturday, will be my review of Extreme Rules 2015. And then after that, I think is reviews of Over the Edge and a bunch of other pay-per-views, maybe Over the Limit or something. I'm not exactly sure as we approach the month of May. So that about wraps it up, folks. Hopefully you enjoyed your post-WrestleMania week. Let the WrestleMania hangover begin from this point forward. And you guys can check me out on the socials, on Facebook. Give the page and a thumbs up at facebook.com/Graham.Jason.Matthews, on Twitter at WrestleRant. And finally, right here on YouTube by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. All support is amazingly appreciated. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.